Fairmont Crest is heading towards another emotional fallout. Carlton and Kial have reached a shocking agreement, and Nicole may be the one who pays the price. But why are they turning against her, and what pushed them to make such a drastic decision? Before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any Beyond the Gate updates. In Fairmont Crest, loyalty is everything, but it is also one of the easiest things to lose. Relationships are constantly being tested, and when trust begins to crack, it rarely takes much for everything to fall apart. This time, the tension centers around Nicole, a woman who has already been walking a very thin line between stability and emotional collapse. Nicole has never been a stranger to complicated relationships. Her life has been defined by emotional highs and devastating loss. And just when it seemed like she might finally find some balance, something always comes along to disrupt it. Recently, that disruption has come in the form of Carlton and Kial, two people she believed she could trust. At first, everything appeared to be manageable. There were disagreements, of course, but nothing that seemed impossible to fix. However, beneath the surface, cracks were already forming. Small issues were being ignored. Miscommunications were building, and unspoken frustrations were beginning to grow. Carlton, in particular, has been struggling with Nicole's behavior. From his perspective, she has become increasingly unpredictable, making decisions that not only affect her but also those around her. He has tried to be patient to understand where she is coming from, but patience can only last so long when the same patterns continue to repeat. Kiel, on the other hand, has found himself caught in the middle. He understands Nicole on different levels, perhaps even sympathizes with her struggles. But at the same time, he cannot ignore the impact her actions have had. Being in the middle of a situation like this is never easy, and eventually something has to give. And now it finally has. The decision for Carlton and Kiel to come together and agree to distance themselves from Nicole did not happen overnight. It was the result of multiple moments, multiple disappointments, and multiple realizations that things were not improving. What makes this situation even more intense is the fact that this is not just about ending a relationship, it is about trust being broken in a way that cannot easily be repaired. From Carlton's point of view, the decision is necessary. He sees it as a way to protect himself and to regain control over his own life. And he believes that staying connected to Nicole will only lead to more chaos, more stress, and more emotional damage. For him, this is about survival. But for Kial, the situation is far more complicated. He does not come to this decision as easily as Carlton does. There is hesitation, doubt, and clear sense that he is not entirely comfortable with what they are about to do. He knows that walking away from Nicole will have consequences, not just for her, but for him as well. Because despite everything, there is still a connection there. There are still feelings that cannot simply be turned off. And yet he agrees that agreement is the moment everything changes. Because once both Carlton and Kiel are on the same page, the decision becomes real. It is no longer a possibility or a discussion, it is something that is going to happen. And Nicole has no idea, at least not yet. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that Nicole is not in a stable place emotionally. She has been dealing with her own internal struggles, trying to hold on to a sense of control in a world that feels increasingly uncertain. The idea of losing Carlton and Kiel at the same time is not something she is prepared for. And when she finds out, the reaction is going to be explosive. Because for Nicole, this is not just rejection, it is betrayal. She believed that these were the people who would stand by her, who would understand her, who would support her even when things became difficult. The realization that they have been discussing her behind her back, making decisions about her without including her is something that will cut deeply, and that pain will not stay quiet. Nicole is not the type of person to simply accept something like this and walk away. She will confront them. She will demand answers, and she will make it clear that she feels wronged. But the question is whether Carlton and Kiel will stand firm in their decision, or whether they will begin to second guess themselves once they see the impact it has on her. Because it is one thing to make a decision in private, it is another thing entirely to face the person who will be hurt by it. As the confrontation approaches, the tension continues to build. Carlton prepares himself for the fallout, convincing himself that this is the right thing to do, that it is the necessary for his own well being. He tries to detach emotionally, to focus on logic rather than feeling. But emotions have a way of breaking through, no matter how hard you try to suppress them. Kial, meanwhile, struggles even more. He replays conversations in his mind, questions whether they are making the right choice, and wonders if there might be another way to handle the situation. He feels the weight of what they are about to do, and it is not something he can easily ignore. And then the moment finally comes, Nicole finds out. The confrontation is immediate and intense. There is no slow build up, no careful conversation. It is raw, emotional, and filled with accusations. Nicole demands to know why they would do this, why they would turn against her, why they would give up on her instead of trying to fix things. Her voice carries a mixture of anger and hurt, and it is clear that this is a moment that will leave a lasting impact. Carlton responds with firmness. He explains that this decision was not made lightly, that it was something they felt they had to do. He talks about boundaries, about the need to protect themselves, about the reality that things have not been working. But for Nicole, those words are not enough. They feel like excuses. They feel like a way to avoiding taking responsibility for the pain they are causing. Kial tries to soften the situation, to offer a more emotional perspective, but even that is not enough to calm the storm. Because at the end of the day, the outcome is the same. They are leaving her, and that is something she cannot accept easily. As the confrontation continues, the emotional intensity reaches its peak. Words are said that cannot be taken back. Accusations are made that cut deep. And the fragile connections between these three individuals begin to break apart. This is not just the end of a relationship, it is the beginning of a new conflict. Because Nicole is not someone who will simply disappear after being pushed away. She will react, she will fight back, and she will not allow herself to be treated as if she does not matter. At the same time, Carlton and Kiel will have to deal with the consequences of their decision. They may believe they are doing the right thing, but that does not mean it will be easy. So, what do you think about Carlton and Kiel's decision? Are they right to walk away from Nicole, or are they making a mistake they will regret? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more Beyond the Gate spoilers. Stay tuned because the fallout from this decision is just getting started.